Happy birthday, Godzilla. No, seriously, the original film was released on November 3rd, 1954, making today the character's 70th birthday. Huh. Just realized, Godzilla's a baby boomer. I don't know how to feel about that. Anyway, in celebration of the Big G becoming a septuagenarian, I wanted to throw my hat into a ring I've overlooked in the past. One Monstrous Moment is a series created by Ryan Collins of the channel OmniViewer. It's about what you'd expect. You pick a scene from a piece of kaiju media, make a video talking about why you like it so much, and it gets added to the playlist. As a longtime Godzilla fan, I knew I couldn't let this Monstrous Moment pass me by. But it begs the question, which scene should I choose? I mean, out of a franchise that's lasted 7 decades with nearly 40 films to its name, it must be hard to pinpoint only a single moment for me to talk about, right? Well, actually, wrong. I knew pretty much from the beginning if I was to ever make one of these videos which scene I'd choose, and it comes from a rather unlikely place. A little movie called Godzilla 2000, or Godzilla 2000 Millennium in its native Japan. Godzilla 2000 is not my favorite Godzilla movie, nor is it my favorite Millennium Godzilla movie. I don't hate it, it's just sort of middle of the road for me, which seems to be where it sits for a lot of people. But every Godzilla movie, you heard me, every Godzilla movie has something redeemable or memorable in it. And in G2K's case, it has one of the most perfect and brilliant endings to any Godzilla story ever. But before I can talk about that, we need a little bit of background to understand how we got here. Godzilla 2000 is the 23rd official Toho Godzilla film and was quickly pushed into development after the 1998 TriStar effort. Toho felt they needed to show audiences again what a real Godzilla movie looked like, and that's exactly what audiences got. A Godzilla movie. Not a great one or a terrible one, just a one. The plot's pretty simple. Taking place in a new continuity outside of the earlier Heisei films, Godzilla has been ravaging Japan for so long that a storm chaser-esque organization has been formed to track its movement and help avoid future catastrophes. Things complicate, however, when a new threat, some kind of flying alien meatball, makes its appearance and Godzilla, you guessed it, has to do battle. So in one movie we have Godzilla destroying cities, Godzilla fighting the military, and Godzilla battling another monster, an evil alien one no less. The effects are decent, the action scenes are cool, the human characters are actually pretty good by monster movie standards, it's fine. But for me, it doesn't really get interesting until the end, so obviously, spoilers aplenty. Alright, so after the Millennium aliens, that's what they're called by the way, morph and combine into a new monster named Orga, it and Godzilla fight. The first thing that cements this ending as a monstrous moment is it's sort of a 3-for-1 deal. There are at least 3 moments here worth talking about. 2 because they're just cool, and the last because of its dramatic weight. The first comes from how Godzilla defeats Orga. The latter unhinges its jaws and tries to swallow Godzilla, who runs headfirst into it. But anyone who's seen a Godzilla movie knows that the Big G is smarter than it looks. Good thing too, because it can look pretty stupid. But regardless, as Orga is gorging itself on Godzilla, absorbing all of that DNA and trying to replicate its cells, the fins light up, and then... As if the mere idea of this isn't cool enough, the execution is a whole other level. Orga's eyes widening as it realizes what's happening is a good, subtle touch. The visuals really succeed in selling the magnitude of the explosion, and G2K is one of the few films in the series where people generally prefer the American version to the Japanese, and one area where I agree is the sound design. They really beefed up the sound effects from the comparatively muted Japanese edit, giving scenes like this an added auditory oomph that helps sell the visuals even more. Anyway, next Godzilla approaches the building with all the characters on it, including the main human antagonist, Katagiri. Long story short, he's been trying to kill Godzilla the entire movie, but always fails because, obviously. Now, faced with his bitter enemy and the subject of attempt after failed attempt on its life, what does he do? He smokes a cigarette, says he's never seen Godzilla this close before, and... Godzilla! This is easily one of the best human deaths in any Godzilla film, right up there with Shindo's from Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Like that one, this scene rides the line between genuinely chilling and kind of hilarious all at once. It's pretty good at both, so I can't complain. After killing Katagiri, Godzilla turns around and walks away, which is normally when the movie would end, right? Godzilla defeated the monster, took out the human villain as an added bonus, walk back into the sea and be done with it, yeah? But you forget. Godzilla, at least this version of it, doesn't give a fuck. And so instead of that Saturday morning crap, it picks up right where it left off and continues destroying the city. I said that this was the part of the scene that had the most weight to it, so I'll try and elaborate on that as best I can. It's easy to forget throughout his, various misadventures that there's an inherent darkness to the Godzilla character. A macabre, twisted creature filled with hatred and a thirst for vengeance after what was done to it by humanity. I think what makes this scene so impactful is that it's an instance of this darkness rearing its head in a movie you wouldn't expect it to. Godzilla 2000 isn't a particularly serious film. It's not as silly or juvenile as some other installments, but it's not super downbeat either. It's like many of the Heisei films in this regard, a sci-fi action movie first and foremost. So to have this relatively light outing conclude in such a bleak fashion is tonal whiplash, but in the best way possible. It's a somber reminder to the humans in this story that they shouldn't get too comfortable with Godzilla, that they can't rely on it or believe in it to solve their problems, that Godzilla is not their friend, and that given the opportunity, it'd be just eager enough to blow them to pieces. Thank you so much for listening to my thoughts on this scene. Godzilla Month has only just begun, so until next time, see ya.